Wake up and I feel amazing. Wake up and I started blazing. She touching and pushing my patience. I'm ballin', I'm strapping my laces. Wake up and I feel amazing. Wake up and I started blazing. She touching and pushing my patience. I'm ballin',
How do we build the culture we have on our team? Like if we're gonna try to add value to somebody, like even people work wise, like the conversation would be a little bit about how we create value, how we take people through our training process. Like what?
Yeah, we'll do that. Let's not bust too much on that. That's a good topic. Until we record. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I can throw in this at any point. Because I hit record from the time you guys come in and I cut all kinds of shit.
You fucking ninja. You're a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Listen, probably.
Those Andre, man, got me singing shit.
So here's the thing. It's not that complicated. One of the reasons why, like, you think when we first started working together, right? And individually, okay? So Jordan, you have a tie to Fawad and Johnny. But the overarching thing and the part you're always going to miss is when you stop giving a shit about the person, then they go start floating, right? Nobody, whether it's a personal relationship or in a business setting, ever floats when you have somebody that's in that mentoring or training position. That doesn't happen, right? Then you start checking in, telling jokes, start knowing stuff about them personally, and then it develops from there. This is if you have no pre-existing relationship with them, right? The clog comes when you have, like, for that pipeline in particular, is when you have so many people. Like, I don't think it's an on-purpose thing, but like it's a rule. It's almost like a rule, right? If you're with somebody on a 1-to-1 basis or a 2-to-1 basis or a 3-to-1 basis, you have that person that's showing interest in with you, you don't have the ability to float because you're anchored to them, right? When you get too many people, it's not even a malicious thing. It's just when you get too many people, you have the people you're anchored to and the people that are unanchored. Those people that are unanchored are going to float. But it happens in a time when it's so linear. You get hired for the job, you get through the course, training, everything's intense, and it's supposed to be. There's a lot to learn. And then you get out of training, and it's just like, and you're just floating there.
Yeah.
It's like you're shot into space, and now you're just like, whoo.
Yeah. So.
Like a rocket.
But it's the same as a personal relationship, right? If you say little jokes back and forth, touching on people's birthdays, all that kind of stuff, right? You can keep your relationship going. If you just don't talk to people, the relationship suffers. Some more than others, right? Like, I'm not great with keeping in touch with people. Rob, for example, is amazing at it. Like, I don't know how he does it. Probably this is one of the superpowers of his ADD. He keeps in touch with 1,000 people, right? But I have some relationships that suffer because of it, and it sucks. But like, it's just one of the things I'm not strong at, or I don't put a priority on.
I'm the same way.
Things take a higher priority, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way on that.
But some people it doesn't suffer. Like, my best friend lives in Calgary, and I talk once every 2 months or something like that, every 3 months. Time difference sucks for that because I'm in bed when he's getting off of work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we start talking, same jokes, same everything. But for new people that we don't have a relationship with, they will all start floating. And then the opportunity itself starts to sour. So they stop working on the scripts. They don't know when they got to be ready to do what, all that kind of stuff. And then, by the time they do get anchored to something, their skills have deteriorated a little bit. They're not as excited about the opportunity. And it's just an uphill battle.
Yeah, because when you come in, you get that boost of motivation, right? And you have to carry it out because it's all momentum. You have to build the momentum. Once the momentum starts, it's a lot harder to keep it going again.
It's so much like sports. It's so much like sports, right? It's the equivalent of, obviously, like, if you're going into a tournament or in the playoffs, like, you start to increase the amount that you're practicing, and then you know what teams you're playing, and so you're developing certain strategies and stuff like that for the team, and then you're repping those. It's almost like practicing like you're going into the playoffs and then not touching the sport for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no excitement anymore. You know, like there's no urgency. The things that you're working on, they get shittier. Um, it's the same. It's why I like sports, instruments, people who do artsy fartsy stuff. Like all that stuff takes that repetition and that dedication and that discipline to keep practicing. But when you don't have a game, practices get light. You know, like people don't have that goal, so that dead time is killer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think to kick off this this episode, I think that's the topic. That's the topic that I think we need to be on is, how do we get success in the culture we have? How do we integrate people in? Oh, like what does that look like on our team, and why do we get told we have such a good atmosphere? I hear it all over the place. I get direct messages from people from other teams, what are you guys doing different? How do you why is all of this a thing? And I think it really has a lot to do with what it is that we do and how we integrate people right from the get-go.
Yeah.
So,
Well, because you got to get to know them as people too, right? Like if that's where a relationship develops. It starts as a work, but like each person on our team, we all know personally,
Yeah.
right? Like some better than others, but like it's not like I haven't had individual conversations that aren't solely pertaining to work with the people on the team.
it's funny. So we opened call room this morning and we're all doing dials and Kevin pops on, but it was a smaller call room this morning and Kevin pops on and he goes, "Where's everybody at?" I said, "What do you mean, where's everybody at, Kevin?" And he goes, "Well, it's so empty in here." And I says, "Well, you got all three Jurgises who are in Punta Cana." I says, "Danny's off this morning, but also it's he's dialing Ontario time, so he's not going to be here for another hour. Stephanie's the same." I said, "Jordan's not working this morning because he's off at the gym and he's got
gonna do the Jays
he's
game.
got the Jays game this afternoon.
Yeah.
Danny's got the Jays game this afternoon." I said, "We all know where Dan is on a Friday morning, running errands, doing all the things and catching up because that's how he works on Fridays." I says, "Chris just popped in here." I said, "Juanita's here. Sam's here." I'm like, and neither one of the Chads typically jump into call room in the morning. So what do you mean? Where's everybody? He goes, "Damn, Ashley, you just listed every single person on our team and you knew exactly where they were and what they were doing."
Yep.
And I said, "You're right, I do." He goes, "It's almost kind of creepy." I'm like, "Why is it creepy?" I says, "I just take the time to make sure to pay attention to what people are doing in their schedules and I listen when they tell me things." I said, "So at any given time, I can tell you where somebody on our team is, whether it's my line or your line, it doesn't matter, but I can tell you where they are and what they're doing." He goes, "Fine, what did I do before jumping into call room?" I said, "Kevin, you were at the gym this morning." He goes, "All right."
Shit,
He goes,
you're good.
he goes, "All right, last question. I gotta know. How many pimples do I have on my face?" I says, "That I can't tell you because Zoom, takes away
With a nice
blemishes."
filter.
I says, "But I'll tell you that something we all run into is a pimple on our ass because we sit on our ass while we do all these dials every day." He goes, "That's true." And then he goes, "And that they're kind of scratchy." I'm like, "Kevin, that's too much. That's too much." But like, something for me every time we get a new agent, every time we know somebody's coming, one, you shoot a message off to us and say, "Okay, script check's here." Soon as I get them, when it comes to me for script check, I make sure to roll them into all the things that we do on our team, whether it's the presentation, all those things. I roll it all in. I let them know what's what, and I say, "Okay, great job. Let's go through your script." And then I spend the second half of that, and I just get to know them. Understand what they do. I go, "Okay, perfect. So I know you're coming into our team. We do call room every morning at this time. If you want to get in and experience dials, jump on in. Call room's usually on my Zoom, so follow this. Here's our group chat. We integrate them into that. Now we have our new member training folder, which integrates them completely into our social media. They understand all the things. We get to know them. I ask all the about me questions to get to know somebody, and we stay in contact and exchange everything right away."
Yeah.
And then we have stickers. I mean, the stickers, everybody talks about our stickers. The whole office, the whole SK talks about our stickers. It's moved very quickly. But, so we've got all that, and people just feel comfortable right away. But why isn't that a standard everywhere?
Well, I mean, we have individual teams. People work differently. I don't think it's like a lot of people, and even the way you said it, I would take that like as like, oh, why aren't they doing that? It's just they work different, right? You know, some people work different than other people. This is the groove that we found for our team. You know, other teams have found grooves in other areas that we haven't hit, right? So, you know, it's a part of having different teams. You're gonna have different cultures. You're gonna have different strengths. You're gonna have different weaknesses. Um, it just is what it is. I still think that because of the way that I started, where it was not virtual and you're driving 45 minutes to 2 hours with the person, so you're gonna fill out. That's plenty of time to fill with that with as much work stuff as you need, but you got to fill that time, right? You're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna be weird. You're gonna get to know both your family. You're gonna talk to them, but I always want to know about the people. Like I genuinely am curious about everybody, what makes them tick, you know, what are they here for, what do they like to do, right? You know, because I want to know them as a person, but I also need that information to be able to do my job correctly. Like, I can't talk to Chris about stuff that is going to be motivating the same way it's going to motivate Chad or Jordan or you.
Mm-hmm.
Can't, right? But I also want to know Chris or Chad, Jordan, and you separate from Jordan the essay, Ashley the GA. Like it doesn't move the needle for you guys, right? Like I wanted to walk through the mall with Ray and tell him what the future looks like in this opportunity in my words, so he could understand it, right? And I know what his hangups are and what his goals are. So I know what your goals are, Ashley, but I know what his goals are. You know what I mean? Like what he wants from that. Like it's just
He
you
tells
need to have
Danny.
it.
He tells Danny every time he sees Danny. Make any sales today? Am I that much closer to my truck? Because you know, Danny, everything you do gets me closer to buying me a truck.
Right.
So every
And that's
time,
how and that's what you want, you know, to motivate your team. You want your husband to treat them like a paycheck, for sure. That's exactly
so every time
it.
Danny makes a sale, he sees Ray. He goes, "Hey Ray, guess what? Got you $100 closer to your truck." And it just turns into a thing. But then he also is the guy who's going to drive over to Danny's house and drop off a laptop to make sure Danny doesn't struggle with uploading policies because of that, and then wants to take Danny out for lunch.
Yeah.
So it's.
I think a lot of it too for us is like, if you just look at us as people too, it's just natural. Like we're people who actually care and want to learn about. It's like everything you guys just said. Nothing's forced, right? Like, and it doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I'm interviewing someone, whether it's an appointment, whether I'm training someone. I always just get in and have a conversation. It's not that I'm going in to try and build rapport. It's just this is what happens. It's just who I am. It's what I do. I don't like to just start talking about something right away. I want to know you a little bit before we start talking, because I also want to understand like how do you speak, what kind of language do you use, even if it's just in like a relaxed, fun state, right? Because that's also going to give me that relaxed, fun state communication, because you're going to probably learn better versus me just being super direct about things. I have nothing to relate things to because I don't know what you're interested in. Like it's those little points that you learn about people that take training to that next level. It's like if I know that, you know, Dan, you go kart racing all the time, right? Let's just say that, and you're doing it competitively. Well, okay, so that whole process leading up to it, there's still training, there's still preparing, there's a mental game that goes into it. You got to be focused, right? It's the same thing when you come in here, but now I can relate it to go-karting and preparing for your race, right? Having the team by your side, because everyone has a team no matter what you're doing. Even if it's a solo sport, there's always a team behind that individual. So like you start to learn those little things about them that you can relate and use metaphors for to help them actually understand. Because if you just if you have 10 people and you all tell them how to do one thing one way, maybe one or two of them are going to understand. The rest of them aren't going to understand it. They're going to have to learn it on their own. So when you take it down to those little nuggets and those points to actually reference to and help them out on like more personal level, right? Because like same thing, you can't judge a book by its cover. right? You got to know what's on the inside of that book.
Yeah.
So you understand that book, then you can add more value to the book. Give them more lines and better close offs and sentences and, you know, things that people are going to highlight.
Well, everybody is different and everybody learns different. I truly believe at the core that if you're going to be a manager of somebody, it's your job to figure out the way that they learn and then teach them in that way. Like they don't have the ability, most people don't have the ability to just switch up what their personality and everything is. It's way easier for us to identify the different types of personalities and then kind of shift it from there. But you know, even the objections and everything, like it can be customized, right? Like when you're overcoming objections and stuff like that. Like what the way that I say it and the way that Ashley says it aren't the same thing. Same idea behind it, right? But you got to personalize it because you know they're gonna get nervous just in overcoming objections if they're not using their words to do it, right?
Yeah.
So it's simple as and technical as that, or man, like you're gonna tell people to go do 2,000 LP. Well, what happens if that's not gonna do anything for them, right? Like what happens if that doesn't even come close to meeting their goals, right? Like you need to know what their goals are, and then you know you want to get to know them as people too. Like we come together to work, but ideally you start picking up friends and along the way, right? Like I think what you were saying, we're all we all get along. I think we all hang out outside of work. Well, if we weren't trying to develop a personal relationship as well as a work relationship, that wouldn't have existed, right? And then at the end of the day, who are you going to work harder for? Your friends or work?
Mm-hmm.
Friends and your family, right?
100%.
Who's gonna cheer harder for you? Your friends or your coworkers, right? So if you could develop that friendship, it just strengthens everything, makes everything more exciting.
It's funny you say that because one of the videos I just uploaded for you into our observation folder, it was Danny's, and anybody who watches it all the way through to the very end, when the client gets off the call, you'll see the excitement there. I didn't cut it out. I thought about it, but I was like, no, I think a new person needs to see that.
Mm.
But just the excitement and the feeling of satisfaction when you figured it out with somebody, and when they see how excited even just your manager can be for you and stuff like that. Like it's one of those things. I don't want to ruin it. I want you to watch it and see it, and you'll see. And anybody who goes through and sees it is gonna, like, the fact we caught it on camera was the best thing. It was fantastic. But it plays right into that. It plays right into exactly what you're saying. Like, who's more excited for you when you succeed, your friends and your family or your coworkers? Well, when you turn it into a friendship, that's a fine line. I think our coworkers are more excited for us in this case because we've developed that relationship with them and they understand what went into it over our friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they get the gig. I don't think, and I'm thinking back to like all the other people that I've run into through this business, and you know, don't get me wrong, you're not friends or you don't like everybody, but for the most part you do. You can at least like them even if you don't have anything in common, just as a human being before work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I think that's probably a better way to explain it, like on a macro level, is they're a human being. So get to know them as a human being. Then you also work together, right? They don't have to be your best friend, but doesn't mean they can't be either. If all you're doing is a work relationship, it's a tough go, right? Transactional relationships don't really work that well.
Especially in the world we're in today with everything virtual, if you literally only did work things with them, you know nothing about them. Like, we spend so much time on Zoom together, just chatting, talking, everything. And then it develops into those personal relationships, right? Like, if we work strictly on a work basis, there's no way Jordan and Danny would have came and hung out at my place for a weekend.
Yep.
No, that's great.
There's no way that there's no way we'd be doing team barbecues for the people who are close enough to attend in May. Like, we wouldn't be doing that if it was strictly on a work relationship. Because you don't get that comfortableness to actually invite people to your home.
No.
Right? So, but now I can say that the people we work with are like integrated into my family. Like my kid knows all of you guys.
Yeah.
Jordan shows up and Danny shows up for the weekend, and Chance gets sad when they go home. Like
awesome.
He goes, "What? Why are they leaving?" Well,
That's what makes it tough having a team spread over 4 provinces.
Yep.
It's, because like virtual is completely new to everybody, but I've never been in. I've always had like at least once a week physically you were together. Right. Every Monday we do transmittals. Same at the other company I work for too. Exact same thing. At least one time a week, if not more, because more people had offices at the other company. So like, I'm in the office every day. So you got your secretary relationships, you got, the upper management relationships, the people that, the veteran agents that you just bumped into in the hallway. You can develop your like side relationship with those people.
Yeah.
Right? Jokes and I always tease people and stuff like that in a fun way. But yeah, like we don't have that. So, being stretched over 4 provinces, 3, we don't have anybody PI, but technically 4, is tough. It's tough because I'd like to see you guys obviously more than I have like in person, but I see you guys every day. So it's that weird virtual
Right?
thing.
So when you do get together in person, it feels like you've known each other forever.
Hmm.
Like when we all met for the first time, like it was surreal. It was like, whoa, they're real people. They're not just on my screen. But at the same time, it was like no time had passed and I'd known you guys forever. Like that's 100% what it is.
Yeah.
And I think the relationships that we build virtually are what makes it or breaks us. Like I can think back to other companies and stuff that I've worked for where those relationships weren't there. There were miserable times. Miserable times. I hated it. But
there's a lot of tough workplaces there.
There definitely is, and I think when you find that place that that you can find your way in and develop those relationships and stuff like that, it makes it easy. Also makes it super easy to get sucked in and not feel like work.
Now, do you think it's because we're just so great at culture, or do you think it's because we actually like the job and the team? Both.
I for me personally, it's definitely a culture thing. I love the people we work with. I love the relationships we have together. If I didn't have those relationships, I can honestly say I don't think I would have lasted. I don't think I would have stayed.
Okay.
I think having the support and the relationship and the culture that we do have has given me the strength to push through those hard times and stay a lot longer. Like I definitely think that's a thing.
This is definitely not a position that you can have superficial support. Like you need to have somebody you can vent to. Not everything has like you just have frustrating days sometimes, right? Like
Yep.
it just sucks. Like, I got no show to figure out what you said. It's just one of those days that you said everything right, everything was booked correctly, same day appointments, all that kind of stuff, and 5 out of 6 people reschedule or no show, right? And to be able to at least vent and have somebody understand it, because you can't, like, there's a lot of technical stuff that you can give people advice on how to like move around it. I try to do on most of the meetings that we do, but there's some things that just aren't technical. Like you just need to be there as an ear, right? And offer some advice, but some people just want to hear it's normal and that you give shit, right? And that it happens to other people.
Well, and that's just it. Like, I think without that, I think that's why a lot of people, when they get into like a sales position or a commission position or anything like that, because we work strictly on that. So those weeks if you've had a rough week and you know that like the paycheck is hard to come or it just isn't planning out for you, having that support system there to kind of keep you going and let you feel like it's going to happen and it's okay, but if you just keep going, it gets better. And being able to maneuver that roller coaster that we know that we can get on. We try very hard not to, 100%, but it definitely does happen, especially when you're new and you're just learning the ropes, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that when you have that support system and you have that person that you can go and talk to, or that team of people, it definitely helps you hang on a little longer and then push through that and keep going.
You also realize that one of the reasons why you have to support people and make sure that they're all right is, like, we don't have people that are showing up to work and doing what we're asking to do that are on a roller coaster compared to what it could be.
Yeah.
Right? So you come in and get trained and you're basically on your own. That roller coaster is just chaotic, right? So with us being in as many appointments, especially focusing on the people that need a little boost on a sale by sale basis, right? Allows that roller coaster to kind of stabilize. But this business is peaks and valleys, right?
Yeah.
But if we can shrink them, which is inevitably the goal, then they don't experience the same things that we may have experienced, or I guess as bad as it could be, right?
Yeah.
Which again, they don't even really see that either, which is good. But yeah, you're talking about culture, you're talking about how we come together. That's one of the things that we minimize. We minimize the peaks and the valleys, right?
Which makes it easier for people to find their groove and keep going and be successful in what we do.
Yeah.
So
I find it interesting too, because like when you come in, there's obviously all these different things that happen to you, and like everything that happens to you has happened to someone else too, like 100%. Because like I think it was in I was reading I think it was in The Subtler Not Giving a Fuck. I think that's what it was, and like the whole concept of that is basically like don't give a fuck about things that don't matter and care about the things that do. But one thing he talked about in there was like problems, and like what problems really are, like difficulties and stuff. Is like every time someone runs into a problem, say you have a bad day booking, it's no one's picking up. We've all had that happen to us, right? We've all had that same problem. And all the problem is it's something that you get temporarily that someone else had, and it basically got passed to you, and it sucks for that time, but now it's going to get passed off, someone else is going to get it, right? So you're going to see the other side of it. And like all those different problems, they all transfer, and they will come, they're going to come, they have to come, right? You have to get them at some point in time. And having those people, like having us there, like there's someone there to be able to, like you said, you can just vent to on those days. And then just say at the end of it, like once they understand, like it is a part of the process, it happens to everybody. It's not just you. It's one of those days that sucks, right? It's going to happen again, but at least next time, it's not you.
Yeah.
As long as you confirm that you did everything correct, you're fine. Take the problem, accept the problem, and then it'll be gone.
I think we also get like super almost spoiled because I deal with this a lot on the recruiting side because we're all commission, right? And so you have to go out, and if you go out, you can make the money. If you don't go out, you're not going to make any money. And then you get people that make $30,000 a year, and they're like, yeah, but there's no guaranteed income, right? Like, right, there's no guaranteed income, but like, what do you expect yourself to do off of $30,000 a year? That's some kind of like victory for you, like that you're 30K or 40K or whatever it is. That's it. Like the reality of 40K a year and then being subject to raises and stuff like that means the risk you're taking is there's no budget to do any of the things that you want to do. I don't believe that too many people want to live a $40,000 a year life.
Oh no.
Right?
people
They just don't want to take a chance on commission, but like there's nobody that doesn't make money at commission if they show up to work.
Yeah. So you show up, do the job, and I think it's more if you're taking something that's like that $30,000 or $40,000 a year job, that's more of a risk in my opinion.
Yeah. Like what's not work about going to the same place every single day at the same time, taking a break at the same time, getting the same paycheck every 2 weeks, no matter what, right? Maybe you get a little bonus here and there. Like that's more of a risk on
Your life.
from a life perspective than anything else.
Especially when you're young. Like when if you just graduate from school, you got a degree, you can't find a job in your degree. Why are you going to do something that's going to pay you, $2,000 a month? That doesn't even make any sense to me. It blows my mind. Why don't you just you're waiting to get a job in the field that you want to get in where no one's hiring. Why don't you go try something new? Why don't you go jump into sales, go on a commission job, try something different? What do you have to lose? You're already $40,000, $80,000 in debt with all your student loans. You don't have to pay interest on them yet. Go take risks. Like, especially that when I get frustrated in those situations, like,
You do the
I don't
second
understand
that
it.
you get a job. The
Yeah.
second you get a job, you get a $900 bill coming in. So you make 40
Yeah.
grand, $2,000 a month. So that's $1,100. Now what? You're living broker than when you were a student,
Yeah.
right? With no opportunity other than get 2 and 3 jobs to make more money. Well, I don't know what kind of risk that people look at, but like 2 or 3 jobs means no life, right?
Zero.
And any part-time jobs that you're getting are $25 an hour, $30 an hour, right? So you're basically just gonna work to do what? With that amount of time, you put it into, especially this, you make that money, no problem.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got there, but
It's one of those things. It's a great topic though, especially when where we're at right now. Like, I run into a lot of people that we talk to who, you know, apply for a job or they want to come work with us, but then the second they hear the word commission, it's like, whoop, gone, bye. They're like,
Yeah.
whoa, I didn't know that was that. Well, what do you mean? Like, what are you scared of?
it's fine.
Yeah.
But like, I had 2 people in particular that I was communicating back and forth with to get a job with the federal government, right? Like, obviously, I'm going to take that. All right, yeah. I mean, you got to do what's best for you. Are you permanent or are you on contract? Oh, I'm on contract, but eventually get permanent. Yeah, eventually. So, are you willing? Are you ready to work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, whenever they need you, with no benefits? 3 months on, 3 months off, for an indefinite period of time to then hope to get a full-time position in the government. Like, what game are we playing here? Like, that's just the craziest lifestyle. And I've seen a bunch of people that I know do that. Like, it's the craziest of lifestyles. In order to get a position that you do age plus service and then you get a pension, you basically got to put your life on pause for an indefinite period of time, make no money, right? Work when they need you. You're off when they don't need you. No benefits, no anything. What? Like, how's that better than what we're doing, right? Like, that's
Right? What
the
if
same
you
as
lose your
commission.
contract?
It's literally it's the same as commission, but you don't have any control over it. Like, if they don't need you, you don't get work, right?
At least we have the
can't just go
control.
book
We can
more
just work a
appointments.
little bit harder.
Yeah, you can't just go book more appointments in the government. They're just like, hey, you're off for 3 months. Oh, yep. And that's it. And if you take another job, then we're going to skip over you and you're not going to get that contract. So you got to stay available. Or not. That's up to you.
Definitely one of those things. Like, I can say, like, I was scared of it at first. I 100% was, but I was like, wait a second. Like, what am I scared of? Like, I'll do the work. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
It's not scary. It's not. Like, it can be scary, but scary to the degree that something else is new.
Yeah.
Like, stuff that's new is generally scary. Right? You don't know anything about it, but
Once you learn about it, it's like easy.
And all it takes is booking appointments and learning. Like, everything, the training is so much better than it used to be. Just say the things. Hear the people, call them until you get appointments, then say the things, and show this thing, and then don't do any of your stupid words. Say the words we're teaching to say, and ask for the sale. And 25 or 30% of those people will say yes.
It's crazy because if you just
It's
if you
literally-
just do the thing that they said,
Yeah.
you find out it works.
There's still people in the company that use and train on the videos people sell.
Yeah.
Right?
And then there's that. Like, that trails into it. Then there's that.
Then there is that. I love the people that change everything and like, this is too hard. Like, I fucking bet it is. I bet this is very difficult because you just went off in the woods and trying to figure out how to do this thing on your own. Yeah, I bet that's super tough.
Yeah. It's like,
Would it be
guys,
super
we
tough
have
for
a
me
house
too?
right here. It's got 18 bedrooms. You have your own. There's a chef that cooks everything for you. They're like, yeah, it's cool. I'm going to go build a cabin though in the woods with my hands.
Yeah,
I think I can make it better.
Yeah,
thinking of work at home.
I look at it like
Okay.
here's the map, here's the path. They already made it. It's clear. It's a boardwalk, right? So you just go through. There's fences on the side, so no wolves or moose can hit you, right? You'll be fine. Just stroll through the woods. Now, the weather might change. So you might get rained on a little bit, might get a little bit cold. But as long as you keep going, you're gonna get where you want to go, right? Then these motherfuckers take a hard left, get bolt cutters, cut the fence, and then they wander off in the fucking woods. And then they yell from the woods. They're like, "Help! The map's not working. It's not working." Yeah, no, it isn't. It isn't. Now we gotta patch the fence because everyone's trying to follow them over there. Everyone they're hanging around with is following through the freaking fence. That's my analogy for the day.
It's 100% the way it goes, though.
Yeah, that's so accurate. That's jokes.
What happened to the map? Oh well, I thought this map was better. Did you? Did you?
That map's for another country. It's not going to work here.
Based on what? Based on what? What do you think that was better for? You think we're all just here lying to you? You think we get you in the training system? You got RGAs teaching you the thing. We're all lying to you. You know better. Then you go in the GAs and the essays, and they're showing you what they do, right? Working. You can do better than that. Screw that. I'm just going to do it my own way because this whole system sucks. Okay.
They tried the thing, and it works.
Tend to overcomplicate things on ourselves sometimes. Tend to overcomplicate things.
Oh,
Way
man.
to go.
But we figure it out. We always figure it out.
Always.
Helicopter them in, drop them back on the path, and then they get it.
Yeah.
Oh, some people get eaten by wolves, for sure. Like, once you go outside the fence, there's no telling what's going to happen. But the people that get eaten by wolves, they just... That's why we got the fence there, right? We just stay
Stay on the fence.
be fine.
Yep. And then there's that. And
There's
then
that.
there's that.
I actually said you had a good there's that, eh?
I did. If we want to lead that right into then there's that. Or pull it up. So, you want to hear something interesting? Who likes corn on the cob?
I love it.
It's pretty
Fucking gets
delicious,
caught in the
right?
Teeth drives me fucking crazy.
I mean, but like it tastes really good. And like there's nothing better than a nice grilled corn on the cob in the middle of summer with a steak beside it.
Roll it in butter.
Oh, it's delicious, right?
Two out of the three people think that, and I will completely listen to your side.
All right.
I mean,
I want to
I
hear
was
what Ash
just,
has to say about this.
but did you know that before toilet paper was invented, Americans used to use corn on the cob? They used to use the skin.
Like the
Like the
they
green
eat it?
stuff. No, I mean that's far left. Before toilet paper, they used this thing that coated the corn as toilet paper,
I
I
guess
would've
I
thought- I would've
you
thought
rip
like
it
the-
off.
like your husks,
Yeah.
the corn husks.
Yeah.
I would have thought the leaves would have been better. Like, I don't know. I
See,
mean, I
like-
always say toilet
Nice
paper is
maple
on
leaf or
purpose,
something.
but
Like the green thing that surrounds the corn, and then they got all the hair on the
Yeah.
inside. They always call it corn hair.
Yeah, tickle your bum. Anyways.
Definitely weird, but yeah,
That
I didn't know that.
is a good one. I didn't know that either. And my aunt owns a farm, so I'll go out there and grab some corn if I ever need
Just
some.
let her know. Toilet paper shortage
Well,
again. If we
there
run
you
into a
go.
toilet paper shortage again,
that's it.
Keep-
You got a gold mine right
yeah,
there.
exactly.
Hell yeah. See, they
And
should
all
have put that
natural?
all over the news.
It's all
Yeah.
natural.
All natural, biodegradable. I mean, you don't got to worry about that stuff not decomposing. It will at some point.
Save the planets. Won't choke the ducks. You know what I mean? Won't choke the ducks.
Yep.
There you go. I love ducks.
So, that's
That's
that.
plastic.
There's that. I got one.
There's
I
that.
got one for you. So, I was actually intrigued by this, but so you guys ever think like how like McDonald's drive-through started? I never did, but I read this and I was like, okay, that's interesting. So they actually started it for the military because
Only
yeah,
like just the military. So they had like
it wasn't
Everyone
just
know-
like not just for them, but because of them. Like
Oh, okay.
due to the military, because here's what the explanation says. So it says, so it was at a base in Syria Vista in Arizona. I probably said that wrong, but basically says the military rules forbid the soldiers wearing their military uniforms in public, so they weren't able to actually change. Like they didn't want to change in their civilian clothes just to go in and grab a burger, right? Like so. One of the restaurant managers, named David Rich, came up with a solution to cut a hole in the wall so that the military members could just not even have to get out their car. They drive through, get the burgers, and off they go. And like, oh, pretty interesting. And then obviously the idea, the convenience of it caught on. Everyone's like, okay, well, drive through makes a lot of sense. Now, boom, there you go. Because there was always like the ones where the servers will come out to the cars, whatever, like
The
the
A&W, the roller girls.
Yeah, like stuff like that. But they didn't have like a quick walk, like run through, boom, get your burger and go. But yeah, I guess that's what it was. Like the military, the soldiers couldn't get out of their uniform, or so they couldn't go in public with their uniform on. They didn't want to change back into civilian clothes just to go in, grab burger, change back into their uniform and go. So that was pretty
They
interesting.
didn't want to get into civilian clothes, go get cancer from McDonald's. They wanted to be able to do it conveniently. You know what I mean?
There you go.
That's
right?
good.
There you go.
That's good.
Yeah. It doesn't give me a year though. I don't know when it happened, but you know,
super long ago. Like you don't even have to like. They just got cars basically, and then they had drive-throughs. I bet you it was somewhere in that timeline. I know it's not very definitive, but like it gives you a ballpark. There's no way that well, I'll be like World War II probably.
Oh,
That just blew that timeline up. But like it has to be some World War I, World War II for sure.
Before 1975, there were no such thing as a McDonald's drive-through. So there you go.
Oh, I was so wrong. It's not even funny. People were sleeping on that.
January 24th, 1975. There you go.
Oh, that seems way too late.
Oh, David Rich, bud. David Rich did it.
I call bullshit on that one.
Yeah, I don't know either, but at least McDonald's, maybe other places were doing it, but.
Do you know in the Philippines, McDonald's serves spaghetti?
Really?
They call it the McDo. It comes with the pasta comes with a beef tomato sauce and a piece of McDo fried chicken.
McGetty.
Yep.
McDonald's used to have pizza. Remember they had pizza?
Yes, McDonald's pizza was my favorite thing. We used to have pizza days in school, and they would deliver McDonald's pizza. It was the best. Oh, yeah. I loved it. It came in these little tiny boxes. There's a place in the States. There's only 2 McDonald's left. Ray and I looked it up because we wanted to go for McDonald's pizza. Probably doesn't taste the same as it did when we were kids, but we wanted to go. And there's a place in the States, Oregon. Oregon still has McDonald's pizza.
They seem like they'd have McDonald's pizza.
Yep. But they do. I will say, though, McDonald's in the States, they actually have, like, real chicken tenders. They have chicken nuggets, but they also have real chicken tenders.
When I go to the States, I try not to eat McDonald's.
Well, like, we lived there, so it definitely was a thing, but...
They have such good restaurants, and they give you fat people portions.
Oh, yeah. Cheddars.
Like, the portions are just huge. So, for my inner fat person, it works so great.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, I love to eat.
And it's cheap. I love it.
Ashley knows when I come over, they gotta stock the...
I go grocery shopping when Jordan comes over because...
I eat so much.
Because 4 chicken sandwiches at 10 o'clock at night is something that he's definitely making. Especially after a couple shots of whiskey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's when the beast comes out. You have a couple drinks, and then you just...
And then Callie's got to run for her life because Jordan's chasing her around the house.
It's so fun. That's why I don't have... I couldn't do it in my condo. I don't have enough room to run around or the carpet to grip my feet.
What was this conversation we had? I was asking them what they did at home, like on off times, because I've seen them for work times, but what do they do at off times? They're like, I don't do anything. Conversation, Jordan's like, I like coming to your place. I get to be a kid again. You've got a kid, so I can be a kid.
Yep. Absolutely. It brings that little inner me out, you know? You gotta love it. You gotta let that out sometimes, you know? It gets a little too serious. So
they run come around out and turn into chasing children.
Cats around, crawling under the bed, and throwing toys, and throwing the cat in the air and catching it, and, you know, just having fun.
Chaos.
Yeah. Chaos. The enjoyment of chaos. I love it.
Yep. Well, it brings another episode
Then there's that.
There's that.
to a wrap.